Rosin is made without the use of solvents, and resin is made using solvent. Typically hydrocarbon, butane, or propane, or a mix of both. There's also isobutane. There's different solvents that you can extract resin with, but they all have different characteristics in terms of the compounds that they pull out of the biomass, out of the flower.
Stage 1 podcast, stoop to store, legacy to legal. You know how we do. We got a nice crew here tonight. Gonna give everybody a chance to introduce themselves first, and then we'll kick it off.
Oh, we start with me?
Yeah, why not? We'll start with you.
Boy LRX in the building. Buddha, Jason LRX, Jayson LRX, all the ats. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, all the ats, hit them up.
I'm gonna follow that.
There's no way.
It's your boy Merc, here we go. You know how we do. And
It's your boy Ricky Bandana.
wait, do you need a mic?
Bandana.
Alright,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Pause. No Diddy.
I need a lighter.
Is Nick with Jonty here?
Alright.
Shout out Jonty.
You have a mic on your shirt.
Oh, I know. I'm looking at the lighter going, that's a sexy
We move
lighter.
a lot of fucking Jonty.
With Nature, Jaunty, all the things.
Alex,
Is right. I
critical.
should have started with Nature.
I know, I covered you. I had your back.
I'm Alex Q, Critical Concentrates. We're working with Nature out here in New York.
Hey, Draco. It's your girl Chantal.
Hey, it's Farmer Adam.
Farmer
Adam.
He's
Scotty
got,
Knox, aka Scotty Packs.
Yes, got it.
yeah.
And let's talk. I want to shout out Jonty for being the first affordable cartridge on the market.
Yeah.
When everybody was out here charging $100 a gram for distillate, y'all like 67 out the door.
Yeah.
Doing this,
Like we're gonna be
that was
reasonable
dope, like,
right
because
from
I
the
couldn't with a straight
beginning.
face sell $100 distillate cartridge to somebody. I couldn't do that with a straight face. I just couldn't. Like somebody behind, I'm like, don't do that.
We
Get
couldn't
this.
either.
You know?
And we wanted to be lower.
I can't do that to people. Just knowing
I
it's
know.
there's a better product for you. Like this is the same product, just
Not burning.
not
I
as
appreciate
expensive.
that, man.
Yeah, no
For
doubt,
sure.
man.
That was the intention. So
Yeah, shout
appreciate
out. It definitely was the intention. We talked about it with them early on, and they were like, yeah, we're gonna come to the market at what we think the market should be at. I think we can afford to do it. I mean, but also, I think you guys were like, this is a fucking volume play too.
Yeah,
If it doesn't go the way, and so that was ballsy when there was only like 20 stores open, or not even. You know what I mean?
10. I remember counting from 1 to 10.
Right,
I knew them all by memory.
Yeah, like that's like,
Yeah. I mean, we got
So
a lot
you
of calls about it, whatever, but ultimately you just did your numbers, and if it wasn't for the potency tax, we would also have been able to do even more work back then, but we made sure that our farmers made a bunch of money, and we were able to squeeze out a margin at that. So it was like,
I still haven't tried one.
being good at
I've been
business,
using my Dr.
in
Debbie
general.
for
And they
Yeah.
have product too.
Yeah.
getting your ass kicked for
Getting your ass kicked first, right, for a little while, but like,
Travel with it better?
Yeah.
building relationships and building,
for sure.
building trust with the people, and then coming through and doing,
actually. I mean, if I start.
the right play, I guess.
following through.
Mhm.
For sure.
Yeah, we did.
I saw today, somebody was selling a cart, and they basically, they wanted the Jaunty, and somebody tried to offer them a cheaper option, and they were like, nah, I want the Jaunties. Like, I'm thinking with the Jaunty, that's because it was actually her man was the one who sent her, and she was like, that's all he wants is Jaunty. He doesn't want anything else.
That's awesome.
So not only
That's
that,
awesome.
it's quality,
Yeah.
I remember when
That's what
Christian
we've been
first
doing
came
forever.
and showed me like the difference between the way you guys process your oil and the way ethanol is done, and like how it looks when it's like when it comes out, all like how yours is just cleaner and smoother. So you want to tell us a little bit about that process?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically whatever solvent you're using to try to make your distillate, right? there's solvents that are stronger. Like ethanol is a super strong solvent, so it'll like rip everything out of the material. It's a super effective solvent. You need to like make it cold, like you would a vodka that you drink. You make it cold and you can't really like feel it as strong. You need to make it super cold so you weaken the ethanol. With CO2, it's a super weak solvent. And because it's weak, you're able to just pull just what you need from the plant material. So CO2 goes through, and it really just like denatures the biomass, rather than like stripping all chlorophyll, stripping everything out of it. You get just what you need, and then you separate out your distillate, and it just makes like a cleaner oil with a cleaner hit, and it doesn't have like this sort of bitter aftertaste. So.
And less peppery nose, so it doesn't make you sneeze as much.
Yeah. That's dope. Yeah. And it's like, and you're able to like do that process and still come at a better price point, like with a clean, with like, would you say it's arguably cleaner or
I think it's kind of the same. Yeah, I think it's ultimately like with distillate they end up being super similar. Like especially at this point with how advanced post processing has gone. Like you've got like membrane filtration, you've got super advanced post processing stuff. I think where we're super excited to make progress is like hydrocarbon extraction. Everything that involves like fresh frozen and live resin and live rosin, like solventless extraction as well. And Jaunty is going to be what's going to have live resin in the future, by the way. So that's going to be very exciting. Yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah, Jaunty's going to be what carries all of our solvent-based stuff. You're just able to like keep all the specific qualities of the strain that you're bringing from the field. So excited about that too.
Yeah, the strain-specific shit is where it's at, because we talk a lot about the entourage effect and how important that is. And that's how you get it, is with the strain-specific shit. It has all the
terps, right?
Yeah, all the terps and the minors and.
And people have an expectation when they see a name.
Right.
Those of us that have been doing this for a really long time, if I see Jack Herrera, I expect Jack Herrera.
Right, you want it to
know
taste
what I'm
like
looking
that,
for.
right.
Yeah, and I know what feeling I'm going to get too. So some of us are looking for that.
And that's the nice part about Jaunty distillate-based stuff, that you can like really go for those classic strains, using the terps.
Yeah, so you guys use like live cannabis derived terps too?
Yeah, exactly. And that keeps the effects from the classics line, I feel like are that's the key part in my opinion. Even further than like the distillate and the CO2 extraction method is like, what terps and what provider of terps are you working with, and are they like really specialized? Do they have cannabis grows? Most people harvesting terps are harvesting them like before they reach peak cannabinoid. Has nothing to do with the cannabinoid. It's like peak aroma. They bring them in weeks earlier. Like if we were just talking about 8 to 9 weeks today, like Ibna brings stuff in 6 weeks. Just when it has like peak aroma and you're just seeing like the hairs there, and they'll extract terps from it then. So it's like a totally different production style to produce terps to put back in a distillate,
right?
Which is just its own niche little market, right?
Yeah.
What's the rate? How much terpenes are in each cartridge, like percentage wise?
Jaunty is 8%.
8%
terps, yeah. Yeah.
With terps, is it, so let's say like limonene, let's just use that as an example. Is it gonna be the same exact flavor and effects no matter where you pull it from? Like let's say if you pull it from one strain as opposed to another strain as opposed to an actual lemon?
Yeah. I mean, it really should be, regardless of where you're pulling. Like limonene, if you pull it from wherever you pull it from, the effect that it's gonna have blended with an oil. I don't know if you agree.
Yeah.
He's gonna know more than I do, but it's that compound, right? So you could get it from lavender, or I don't know about limonene, but let's say you could get it from another essential oil source, right?
So like if you're looking at lemons, that smell you're getting from like a lemon is actually what you're getting when you're talking about limonene.
Right.
Like it's that same actual volatile compound. If you go out and you're looking for like those citrusy, lemony essential oils, and you look at the label, limonene. You're gonna see it right on there because it's everywhere. It's the same compound no matter where you're getting it when you get it down to that level.
Okay.
So yeah, smell, flavor, effect, always gonna be pretty consistent.
There's just still a bunch of like unknown terps and stuff, and that's why it's very hard for like people that are making terp blends from like terpene isolates, like limonene isolate from botanical source, to really try to mimic a cannabis strain and be close to it.
Yep.
is challenge that's like, you know, millions of dollars of research and is very tough to do because there's still compounds that they don't even have identified in the plant, and that's why when you extract straight from the plant you're like, well, I'm sure everything's still in there,
Right.
you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and then and to add on to that, like that's also where quality will play a difference. So you say limonene extracted from lemons and limonene extracted from a cannabis plant. I would almost say that based on my experience with like essential oils and them being just like even that same plant, like a lavender essential oil produced in a different region compared to a lavender essential oil in another region, they have a different smell, just a slightly different smell, slightly different thing. And when we mention the compounds that we don't even know in cannabis, I think that's what's really driving the difference between a cannabis derived and a botanical derived terp.
Yeah.
And that like those cannabis compounds are really those little blends that those
So that being said, think about like you would probably want to derive your terpenes from a terpene heavy grow as opposed to like, you know, moldy grow, right? Where the terpenes are not
all the
there
terps
anymore.
there are like, these guys are like growing them indoor or in greenhouses, like super well controlled.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like that. It's like super terpene heavy grows, but that's what I'm just saying. That like even that difference is like the difference between limonene from a lemon and limonene from, you know, a great grow or a shitty grow.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
sure.
that's it's scalable. It's a spectrum, right?
Yeah. You could it'll be all cannabis derived and taste like shit.
Exactly. But it could be but it could be all like botanical derived and still hit great, and still hit great and taste great, and you know what I mean. That a lot of people love that.
Like this melon thing here, it's like cantaloupe crush. It's fucking delicious.
Trying to put yourself to sleep.
I mean, this melon is delicious.
Like I know it is, but it's loaded with myrcene.
Lecturing me about terps constantly.
But like when we're talking about like the difference between botanical terps and cannabis derived terps, a lot of people say boo about botanical terps. It's the same thing. Sometimes they're just utilized differently, like for this melon one. That's got botanically derived terps in it, so that way it's flavorful. So it's not just the weed experience, because not everyone wants just the weed experience. Not everyone likes the taste of it.
Right. So, but do you feel like the botanical derived terpenes color the effect within the entourage effect the same way that cannabis derived terps do?
I think that I will say like the complexity of the terp blends
is different.
And like and here like you feel like a slightly more elevated high when you hit like a straight live resin or live rosin. It's just like not elevated in that it's better or not. I meant like in the clouds. There's like a slightly, it's more like a flower high.
Right, more like a flower high, because flower you're smoking it all. So it's like that full spectrum.
Yeah.
Rather than, you know, I don't know, put back together, I guess. Like taking it deconstructed first and then kind of put back together is a different high than just like smoking the natural shit, right? All kept together shit.
And depending on how many botanical terps you're actually adding in to create that flavor, like you can actually answer this. Do you add more terps to that than you do the jaunty vapes? Like, is it more? Well,
I would say like the terp supply is super important. Like with our terps, like with Ibna, they've got like over 45 different terps blended together. They're super complex formulations, but a lot of distillate stuff isn't. But like, so it just depends who your terp supplier is. I think,
blend 45 herbs and spices on some fucking
try to get to some specific thing.
That's wild. Man.
But the botanical terps, they still have a lean to them as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And a lot of people don't think about that, so you got to look at the COAs.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, no, that's true.
I'm literally
Yeah.
looking up a COA right now. Like on my own too, not just because we're having this conversation.
It's like, aren't you off the clock, bro?
Yeah, man. Speaking of COAs.
Yeah, we got a tickle on our nose.
Usually, like terps that are added after the fact, if it's not like a rosin or something, they tingle my nose. I can tell immediately it's not net. Well, obviously it's natural, but it's not like.
I mean, I would argue that's the
Full
distillate.
What's that?
I'd argue it's the distillate.
Yeah, that could be it
not
too.
the terps.
Yeah,
definitely be
the
it.
ethanol nature of the distillate.
It's an irritant. Like you're getting a concentrate. It's straight up THC, and when you have so much of one thing, it can cause little bits of irritation. So like,
This is a live resin. So.
Yeah, and those will cause a little bit of irritation because again, it's a concentrate. It's one thing that's concentrated down to be so focused. So like, if you're gonna sit there and consume lavender, like smoke a bowl of lavender, straight up, it's gonna be a little bit harsher. Yeah. Because you're getting one thing super focused. So like, they tell you to not put essential oils directly on your skin. It's a concentrate.
Yeah. So how do those COAs look, Scotty?
Oh, they're decent.
Decent? All right. Got some good numbers.
Ooh, that's umami.
Got some good numbers.
Yeah.
All right.
They just came by today.
Dropped off. Yeah. Shout out umami.
Spiced apple.
Those are delicious.
Hold up. Yeah, they are pretty good.
Yeah? Try one.
Go ahead.
Oh,
Yeah,
those
that's
are
what they're
great.
here for.
Yeah, you don't like them? I like them.
No, they're okay. It's like just something just very cinnamony for me.
Yeah.
They are very cinnamony.
It's a love it or hate it flavor.
Yeah,
They-
that's what I was trying to say.
They do the apple flavor real good because they're an orchard,
Because they're an
you know?
orchard,
Like,
yeah.
They are delicious though.
and shout out to them, they did this too. Cut the check.
Yeah. Cut the check. Cut the check, baby. You know, I realized that Rove brought us these exit bags. They're beautiful, and we have them on display and shit, but we gotta make sure that they also remember cut the check. Nah, shout out to Rove though, because they did pull up with the dope ass exit bags.
Rove's always looking out.
Yeah.
Always looking out.
Yeah, the smell proof Johns, yeah. Cool. All right, so damn, we just like jumped the show off about like processes, and that's really cool. I loved all of that conversation. I wanted to like focus a little bit on propaganda and the use of propaganda and all sorts of things, especially cannabis. All right, so I'm gonna bring up the definition of propaganda. You know, you thought I would have done that, but
Yeah, I thought you were gonna be prepared.
I was. I had it prepared, right?
Propaganda.
This is some Sunday driver.
That's what we should call this episode.
Propaganda, yeah.
Featuring that chop cherry.
That's a fact. That's the name of it. It's decided right now.
It's decided.
He's totally
No,
tuned out, not paying attention to his
Okay.
All right. Here we go. So,
I can make a call.
propaganda, the spreading of ideas, information, or rumor for the purpose of helping or injuring an institution, a cause, or a person, or a thing, right? So that's like the main definition of propaganda that we all think about, but we don't always think of it as like helping either. Mostly it's like we think of it as injuring or hurting. So in the case of like Reefer Madness, let's show the book. We got, does anybody
yes.
remember Reefer Madness? It's
Yes.
almost like a fucking joke now if you watch the movie. It's like a comedy.
I used to run it in middle school when I first started smoking weed.
Yeah, because it's not believable that people would watch that and go, "Oh my God, it's the devil's lettuce. Stay away."
Right. Yeah, it's like you might fucking be a jazz musician.
It's like that sounds like a good time. Let's go.
So for a long time, that whenever that came out, it was used as propaganda against marijuana, right? And it changed the narrative. That was like one of the texts and one of the things that helped to change the narrative of cannabis, because for years and years and years, cannabis was like literally a medicine in all of the like pharmacists' cases was cannabis in some form that or another, and it had been prescribed for thousands of years.
Yeah.
So up until like in the 1930s, there's the 20s, the campaign started into the 30s to.
Yeah, and it was officially banned in 37.
And right, 37. They used propaganda to convince the people that weed was bad, right?
Yeah, they used a lot of racism as well.
Racism was used a lot in propaganda.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, that's
Yes,
like one
it
of the
was.
main.
Yeah. All sorts of
big
propaganda.
time.
Yeah. I think racism actually is at like the center of like the most heinous propagandas of like of the history,
Yeah.
which is crazy. So then why would it be any different for weed?
Yeah.
Right.
Like, it's always about how you're different than me and how that makes you bad and me not and all of those things, and we literally built our society around it.
Right, but isn't it wild how like it unifies so many of us though, and so the idea that they used it as like a separator is wild.
Well,
and
fear.
Fear.
It's fear. That's what propaganda is. Fear, and that's what people use as a way to control things. And you get enough people afraid, you get them to, they think about themselves and their home and what they're protecting, and you get enough people on that bandwagon. It's like, we're protecting this thing, but it's like, what are we protecting?
Right.
And they use that. That's propaganda.
Yeah.
And
How it's
like-
always been.
It's kind of making the bandwagon, how you were saying, like that's how you do it is with propaganda. That's how you create the wagon.
Yeah, you're creating a sense of tribalism, a sense of community based around some form of hate.
Something.
Yeah, so
And most people use it in fear base,
so I feel like we can like do like and then a lot of that fear-based shit is like bullshit though, right? It's like based off of lies and falsities and like
Right.
made up shit.
Yeah.
I mean, cannabis was banned on lies.
Right,
Like
banned on
it
lies.
it was in the pharmacopoeia.
Right.
So like doctors were prescribing it, and then Henry Anslinger came out and bastardized it.
Well, it was
bastardized
a threat to
entire
so many
people.
industries, It was
Yeah.
a big threat to so many industries at the
I
time.
mean, it's a threat to the entire textile industry.
Exactly,
It's a
all
threat
that.
to the pharmacy industry.
Yeah,
So
that's the exact reason this happened,
yeah, it's all about dollars.
The newspaper industry, the paper industry,
Dude, so much.
The
So
liquor
much.
industry.
the liquor industry,
So
right?
They like to lobby against us.
Well, I will say that they're saying that a lot less kids are coming up drinking, but weed is legal in a lot more states, and it's being a lot more accepted and way less taboo in culture. So I would imagine there is a correlation.
I mean,
To be
states
made
that have
there.
legalization have like 30% less alcohol sales now since legalization. That's huge.
Yeah, it's pulling
Yeah.
from there for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
there's so many benefits.
That's a crazy
making the
number.
switch.
Yeah,
That's a really crazy
Wouldn't
number.
you
I
be
didn't know
scared
that.
if you're alcoholic?
Yeah.
And we see
It's
it too.
kind of
I mean, we sell a lot of
the
fucking
cigarette
drinks.
companies go
Yeah.
against the
You know,
vape so hard.
I will
That's
say
why they
that,
lobby
like,
against them so
yeah.
hard.
So I imagine, and you get a lot of people who are like, I'm just trying to cut down on drinking.
They'll flat out say it.
All right, flat out say,
Stop
well,
drinking.
yeah.
If they stop drinking, then they still want to do like this is legal now. So
Yeah, something recreational. Yeah.
Plenty of people come in with that.
Yeah.
Something that might be less harmful to their body because it's not an actual poison.
Right.
Like you don't have an alcohol system, but you have an endocannabinoid system.
Right.
You have to piss off your liver to get drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. They like to propagandize against weed. You have to like hide the fact that every human being has an endocannabinoid system.
Yeah.
That like, hey, it's made to process, the cannabinoids. It's like made for that.
We make them ourselves.
We make them ourselves, right?
And it's medicinal. It's medicinal. And
That's why it's medicinal.
Exactly. And that's like, it doesn't make money. Like, if you're not constantly sick, I mean, it does, obviously, this does, but like, you know what I'm saying?
I totally didn't see a Tesla outside.
Because like the pharmaceuticals lose money because it's like what we talked about on the other, you know, it comes back home. You're bringing it back home.
Yeah. That's why a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
A lot of states don't want to have home grow because propaganda.
Right.
God forbid you have a plant growing in your backyard that looks like a tomato plant.
Definitely, propaganda shaped the laws. You know, it's still not like, hey, do whatever you want because it's fucking great. It's like, all right, you can only do it like this, and this is very, you know, and it's not even agreed across all of the states, and the feds aren't, you know.
And every state has to go through this medical process to then get to like actually open it up, and the medical process is millions of dollars. It's super inefficient sort of.
It is.
But I mean, it
pins everybody against each other in the beginning too, because like the medical guys are in here for a few years, and then they're like struggling to stay alive because they've been promised that this other thing's gonna happen, and then they're like, yo, plus you got to stay out for
3 years
more, 3 more years, but just chill, it's fine. But then they fight to come in, and everybody's like, fuck you for fighting to come in, and then, you know what I'm saying? And then we're all like, kind of like, everybody's mad, but in reality we're you know, it's like manufactured to be that way, I imagine. You know, so propaganda.
Yeah, I mean, one of the debates you hear all the time is who's better, legacy or like the investor side. Like we even have names that we throw around. We call them Chads, for crying out loud. How awful is that?
Yeah.
Like why
not
I
awful.
mean, I'm like, all right, what do I do?
No, no, it's different. There's differences, and there's like, but it's fucked up because there is a certain amount of like unfairness that's allowed to be had as a result of the way the laws for medicinal were structured, and the way the laws for everyone else were structured, and now to allow medicinal to go rec and not restrict them
to one or the other,
to everyone else, what everybody else has, and to just let them kind of rock. You know.
Yeah.
See, I'll be on my pro-truth propaganda. You know?
Yeah. Like, it's never that black and white as propaganda makes it seem. Propaganda's like good, bad.
Right. No, there's a lot to it. There's much more nuance to it. You know, and reading between all those lines that are drawn for us to say, oh, look, here's this line. Look at that line. I drew it out there for you. And then, but if you look between those lines that they drew for us, there's a lot.
Yeah,
that's where all the color is. You know. So that's we were talking about that with like in terms of the COA. Scotty had a very interesting view on that versus like legacy wheat or like black market bud, and how.
Yeah, I don't like saying black market. I like saying legacy for sure, because I know some very experienced growers, you know, and always got the best cannabis, you know. Well, not always, but for years I've gotten the best cannabis, and I know how good some not black market, but legacy weed is. And I see the narrative being pushed, illicit cannabis is toxic by the state. I see that, and I'm thinking in my head, but you guys let any mold count go in dispensary shelves. Like, it doesn't matter how much mold's in the flower, it can go on the shelf.
Right.
And a lot of this flower does have quite a bit of mold in it. Not in our shop. We have a threshold.
Yeah.
Note that. But yeah.
Noted. We keep. I
think it's very hypocritical, and it is propaganda. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that is. Yeah. So it still persists basically in cannabis is what we're. That's what we're saying, and it, you know, and that's just here. We know what's going on in the New York market. I don't know what the fuck is happening anywhere else. You know, I'm just new in this. I'm green in this market too. Really, you know, I'm trying to be educated and learn. That's why we're doing this, so we could talk to people who are more educated on than us on certain processes and things like that. We're trying to fucking figure this all out together. Yeah, you know, and yeah, it's crazy. But we can also, we're lucky enough to be able to be a part of building the narrative. Yeah. Right. And like making the change and talking to the policymakers and the change makers and trying to push agendas because we're early.
Yeah. From a big market.
And in all honesty, I had this conversation with Christian the other day. We were talking about like a bad bud tender can paint a broad brush and say that like, well, CBD is amazing for everything, or like this strain is going to be perfect for all of your anxiety, etc., which is a broad brush. We're saying a lot. We're not taking anything about that person or their lived experience into consideration. So like, we have to be mindful of that and have those conversations and actually come from the place of you guys have those conversations. I get to have those conversations. You get to have those conversations. Christian gets to have those conversations. We're in a position of power and we get to change it. So like, use your voices, talk to people. You're in front of them every day. Ask questions, because like, that's how we get to shift what we're actually discussing, and we can change all of the BS that we're experiencing right now. Like,
we could, I mean, now we're getting studies, real, actual, legitimate studies are being done now. But we're out here like, we can all be citizen scientists and start gathering data and really understanding what some of these strains are doing for our customers if we ask the questions, right, to the people who are regulars and come back and say, I like this, and you say, oh, what do you like about it? What's going, how's it made? And then you can, pass that knowledge along and have an understanding of what's happening.
And that's why you should be journaling about what your experiences are. And I know that sounds super cheese, but like, how do you know what's going to work for your body? Because your body's going to be different than mine. And like, what you've had to eat that day. Are you having a shit day? Like, I know if I'm pissed, no matter what you put in front of me, it's not like if you give me something that's supposedly going to give me the giggles, I'm just going to be less pissed. Like, so you have to take all of those aspects into consideration. Like, it's not a wonder drug. It's not a one size fits all. It's not this strain is going to be perfect for you every day. It's about having those conversations and being on the front lines and changing those minds.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is, though. It's the truth. That's where I think that's the fortunate position we're all in too, though, is that we are on the front lines of this massive market, and we're lucky enough at our store to actually be in a really good position within the market, so that we see a lot of people. And the amount of we do well within the New York State market, not just within the capital region market, but within the whole market in the whole state. We're doing pretty well. It's like, and so that gives us a lot of kind of power to help shift, make sure that the narrative is proper, and make sure that we educate the public the right way. And that's why we are very heavy on that. We try to make sure all the bud tenders that are out there in the public talking to people understand the products. And you guys do a great job of coming in and educating us on the shit too. So that we can do that. Right? Pro-truth propaganda. That's what we call it.
I will never forget the day I met you. I had no idea who you were. You sat through my training and then introduced yourself, and I'm like, you could have said something.
No, I love that shit. That's
I was mortified.
That ghost training.
It's awesome. That's how you know when people are like, all right,
for sure, for sure.
I always do that. I always sneak up and everybody wants to introduce me, and I'm like, just let me chill for a second, and then I'm like,
let me see what's real.
See what's real. No, get to be a part of the team.
What's the timeline with the, let's say, like the negative propaganda with weed? There's 1937, and then from there
to current.
It was reefer madness for until Nixon.
Yeah,
in the 70s,
but it was still
and Reagan.
But then there was the counterculture movement that came in, right? So in the '60s, and there was a whole kind of psychedelic thing that was happening that previous to Nixon, leading up to the whole drug wars, the beginning of the drug wars. But leading up to that, there was a whole lot of experimentation with psychedelics, with interestingly enough, MDMA, for example, was drug that marriage counselors would prescribe to couples
They
for
would,
couples
yeah.
therapy.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like a fucking.
You can
it
just
wasn't
buy, you can buy that shit.
Yeah, like it
You know what
wasn't
I mean?
made in your neighbor's
like
basement.
before they made before they like made it illegal and made it and
That's
turned
so
it into
funny.
this like. But now there's a resurgence of it and it's being
Yeah.
studied for PTSD
And they proved all them early studies about eating holes in your brain. They
same
proved it all
propaganda,
bullshit.
propaganda about eating holes in your brain.
Yeah, psilocybin is
Like,
being
as long as it's
used
clean.
to help with mental health too. As
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
I microdose
Yeah,
once weekly.
Like,
So that
and,
was
and
oh, yeah.
it's been seen as
so there was a resurgence of of cannabis after the 30s and into the 50s, and there was a lot of usage in the 60s when the counterculture, and then that's when Nixon in the 70s came through with like the war on drugs, and then
Yeah, you didn't
it
like
was
people.
wrapped up in all of that.
Has anyone ever heard of paraquat pot?
I feel like I have. This sounds familiar.
Paraquat is an herbicide that they were using to spray on weed,
Yes.
and it's basically poisonous to humans.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole point of it was they couldn't stop the weed from coming in.
It killed
to
a
the
ton of
country.
people, didn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So they couldn't stop the weed from coming into the country, so they decided we're just gonna fuck it up to make people sick, so then people are gonna stop smoking.
Mm-hmm.
And they made a deal with Mexico. Shout out to Strange Show, because this is where I'm getting all this information from. But basically, they made a deal with Mexico, with the Mexican government, to provide them with planes and then the money, and then Mexico was going to poison their own crops, because that's where we were getting all of our stuff from. That way we weren't technically liable for it, but we made it happen.
Yeah.
And then it made its way, it went through, and this is Nixon's people. Like, that's actually part of what I've seen was John Ehrlichman. He was one of the people who worked for Nixon.
Mm-hmm.
And he was quoted saying, the Nixon campaign in 1968 and then the Nixon White House after that had two enemies, the anti-war and black people.
Mm-hmm.
And then he said, you understand what I'm saying? We knew we couldn't make it against the law to either be against the war or black, but by getting the public to associate the hippies with marijuana and blacks with heroin, and then criminalizing both heavily, we could disrupt their communities.
Yep.
We could arrest their leaders, raid their homes, break up their meetings, and vilify them night after night on the evening news. Did we know we were lying about the drugs? Of course we did.
Yes. I mean, if we go back to when it was originally criminalized, it was all based on creating fear around Mexicans. So, like, cannabis has always been tied to fear around someone that doesn't look like the U.S. government.
Yep.
It's a control tactic, and it's fucking disturbing.
And then if you like criminalize it and make it like deem it inappropriate, then you actually keep people from using it, and then you try to prevent people from using it the best you can, and then you criminalize the people who use it. That then like it makes it so the main properties of like using it, which is like this whole togetherness, and that's something that I will say from running the store, just seeing the cross section of individuals that use cannabis. It's fucking everybody.
And it's beautiful.
It's all ages, it's all races, it's all, sexual orientations, it's everything. It's everybody, all genders, everything. It's fucking amazing, and you see it, and like trying to prevent that, and then turn that against us. That's the weirdest shit, But it's totally deliberate, not that weird.
God forbid we be free thinkers.
Right. Exactly.
That's what all psychedelics do. It allows us to think outside of the box. It allows us to think outside of what we were taught every day in school.
Yeah.
Just get up, do this, go to bed, go home, whatever.
Doesn't make the best worker, right?
Yeah, but it makes a creative thinker who actually gives so much to the world.
Gives a fuck.
Yeah,
Exactly.
our authors, our producers, our musicians.
Yeah.
Like, we wouldn't have, you guys, you get so much from the plant. I imagine it just opens your mind. It makes me want to learn all of these things when I consume.
Oh, fuck yeah. Definitely opens. For me, like, creating music is like, I always describe it as like opening like a spout to the energy that's already flowing, you know. And then I just have this ability to turn the spout on and like take that energy and share it with the world. But I don't create the energy; it's there. I can just tap into it, and cannabis definitely has helped me tap into the source. I will 100% say that and give it its due and credit for being a part of that journey for me 150%.
I feel like we're antennas and we pick up on frequencies. To piggyback off what you were saying about how we don't really create it, it's just there and we pick it up. And then for me, what this does is it opens up the paths for those frequencies and for me to like recognize it.
Recognize
like, oh, this is happening. Oh, this means that. And then it'll correlate different things together, make different connections. It makes those easier to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're tapping into source.
Tapping into source.
Which is tapping into all of us. Like that's the thing we forget as a community. We are all each other. Like we all come from the same place. We go back to the same place. I mean, we put ourselves in concrete boxes at this point, but our energy goes back to the same place.
And we all smoke weed.
Yes. Like so we share that energy.
Like we're all everything is connected. We are all interconnected. And not just by this plant, but like with the plant, like the plant is connected to us, we are connected to the plant, and you know, it's communal.
It is word up.
Definitely.
This is the point of the show where we all get mad stoned. Like if you look at Farmer Adam's fucking rich. Shout out to the Farmer Adam. He worked the fucking devil today.
He did. He did.
And then Scotty was like, Adam's not doing the pod, man. He worked the fucking
devil. No, he said he wasn't doing the pod.
And then look at him.
He told me earlier he wasn't.
And then he pulled up. Look at him. That's why I got to shout out. I got to like
hooked twice.
I didn't spread that malicious rumor. He told me that.
Scotty out here propaganda.
Propaganda.
Adam's taking the propaganda. He's the one that switched up.
Let's talk about the podcast picks. What were we smoking on?
I got fooled by this
propaganda. We had the fucking
Drop
cherries, Flower House. They did their thing on that one.
Yeah, the Flower House.
We have wedding cake from Harvest.
Wedding cake from Harvest. That's what's up.
It's a nice low dose one.
Definitely. I like the lower THC shit from Harvest. Is like, it's fucking good, isn't it?
It's really nice.
It is.
Like it reminds me of the stuff I kind of grew up on. And it doesn't totally throw you out of whack because it's lower THC. It's got a nice terp profile. So it's just that well-balanced high that allows you to just kind of function. So, you know, you don't lose your words when you're on a podcast.
Sign the check.
Right?
MFNY pre-rolls too. They got that honey banana joint.
Yeah.
These blueberry muffin and honey banana.
Blueberry muffin.
That's good. They got a bunch of combinations. They got all kinds of
blueberry
wild
muffin
combinations.
last night when I was taking the trash out. That shit is some fucking bomb.
Which one?
The blueberry muffin from MFNY.
The infused one with the honey banana.
The honey banana. That shit's crazy.
Yeah, it's got the honey banana live resin in it.
Yeah.
Their live resin is great.
Speaking of live resin, what do you guys got? Some
Let's talk
about the fucking. Speaking of motherfucking rosin.
Yeah, this is some rosin. This ain't resin.
That really got me.
This is some fresh press live rosin.
You know, it worked as intended then.
Alex, that last one that you loaded, was that the bitter orange?
That last one was actually rated R.
Oh, rated R.
Yeah.
Rated R.
Rated R.
The Gotti belts is smelling amazing too.
Man, critical is in the fucking building.
Great. That was awesome. Yeah, that was that last one.
Yeah, that shit is bomb.
Yeah, so it's live rosin, right? Solventless.
Live rosin, solventless.
Yeah, hash rosin.
Hash rosin, live rosin.
Yeah. It's rosin.
It's the vibe rosin.
It's rosin.
It's fancy shit,
It's
yo.
fancy shit. And
also got
it
some-
is at
we also got some,
an affordable
fresh press.
price point in the marketplace. No, like
Yeah.
as far as rosin is concerned, it's like
Yeah, this cold cure, yeah, for sure. And we're figuring out ways with our inputs to bring it down lower, but
Yeah.
for
You guys
sure.
want to check out some of this fresh
This is
press?
fresh
Yeah.
press. Yeah, so this is like everything's vacuum sealed and frozen throughout, and including the hash, and then it's pressed, and it's like fresh off the press. You know, after that it's frozen again, and it's never cured up. So this is like as if it was like straight off.
It looks like honey.
yeah, it does
So
look
cold
like
cure,
honey.
cold cure is, you know, it's essentially it's the same resin, but it has to be taken through more steps to make it actually, you know, shelf stable. Essentially, problem with that stuff is that you can't leave it out, or it's gonna turn into like kind of like a crystally, sugary, buttery kind of looking.
Yeah,
chip,
you
right?
gotta like
This has
you
to
gotta,
stay
like,
in the fridge.
buy it
Yeah.
and dab it, or
Yeah.
keep it in the fridge.
I mean,
In the
if you
freezer.
buy it,
Or
it
you
doesn't matter because I mean it's still the same concentrate.
It
This is
doesn't-
the
Yeah.
same thing, but
Yeah.
nonetheless, like, you know, to get to this point, you gotta agitate it. You gotta put it, you know, you gotta like stir it up. You gotta give it time to cure out. And in that time, like it's, you know, there's oxidation. There's things that are naturally happen to the product. I mean, is it bad? No, but it's different. It's different than it was right off the press.
Right.
Yeah, right off the press,
So,
right when
you
you
know,
smell it,
the best.
it doesn't really smell very strong until you hit it on your rig, like cold cure would. But it's,
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
fresh.
I mean,
Yeah.
with the fresh press, it's so when you have like a concentrate that's got like a crystal kind of look through it, where you can kind of see through it, but it's also kind of sticky. It's typically that's considered a monocrystal. It's not a true crystal. A true crystal is like a polycrystal, and that's when all the molecules essentially stack up evenly on top of each other. It takes a long time to happen. I mean, with diamonds, you know, like THC diamonds, you can get polycrystals to form over like, you know, 2-3 weeks, but it takes long for those crystals to form. This is happening right away. It's a monocrystal. Same thing as like soft glass, for example, right? Like the difference between soft glass and Pyrex. One is a polycrystal, one is a monocrystal.
Yeah.
And so essentially this has head pressure. This has head pressure and like tension, surface tension, which doesn't allow for the terpenes to escape. The terpenes are trapped inside because the surface tension is like almost holding it like a glass, like a soft glass. You know what I mean? So it prevents oxidation from happening as quickly. It prevents terpenes from escaping as freely. And
Because the terpenes are like the
yeah.
most volatile compounds.
they're the most volatile. It's
Right.
like alcohol. Get
Right.
a drop of alcohol. They're the same consistency as alcohol. Many of the terpenes. Some of them have, like limonene, for example, has a more oily consistency where it's like it feels like maybe like baby oil, kind of like, you know,
Yeah.
more or less. But like some terpenes are like straight up alcohol. So when you get a drop of alcohol, drop it on the table, see how long it takes to evaporate.
All right.
Seconds.
Yeah.
Seconds. before
So
it's gone.
you want something like that to hold the terpenes in.
Well, I mean, you know, you can see it with it. I mean, like I said, I love fresh press. For me personally, I dab a lot of mostly fresh press, to be honest. All these two that I brought, the ones that I'm personally dabbing on.
Yeah, this midnight scoop
not
is one of the
fresh
ones
press, I'm sorry.
we're working on.
I meant to
next week.
say,
Smell that.
I meant to say cold cure.
Cold cure.
But you know, if you leave this cold cure out on your table for like a week, you'll see the outside is dry.
Yeah.
It'll dry out, and that's because all those terps on the surface of it have evaporated completely.
Yeah.
So it's very volatile, like, and so, you know, this doesn't have the surface tension that has, because essentially this is many polycrystals that are now tiny little molecules, and the terps are essentially just swimming among those little tiny crystals there. So there's no surface tension. It's just freely escaping. That's why I can hold that shape.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah. I'm fucking high. I'm sorry.
Every word.
You just kicked game right there. You just fucking kicked game right there.
But you know, there's also, that's another propaganda. That's modern propaganda. People don't understand concentrates many times. They make assumptions about shit, like, you know. Everybody talks shit about. I mean, solvent concentrates is close to my heart. I've been doing solvent concentrates since 2013, and you know, there's a lot of misconceptions about solvent concentrates. Like solvent can be a clean extraction. You just got to be able to know. You got to know what you're doing. You got to make sure that you're taking it right. You know, there's no. I've told this many times to like Nick and to other people, but like there's no magic bullet in terms of making concentrates.
Right.
It's not like, oh, you can bring me your shitty flour and I'm gonna turn it into fucking gold. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Right.
To your point, you know, with the moldy
flour, it's gonna taste like shit.
If you start with shit, you that's the best you're gonna get all the way done. It might actually get worse.
Yeah.
Trash out.
And so, you know, you can have a good process, but it's not about having a good process, it's about having good biomass. And it starts before, and it starts about having good genetics, good biomass, a good process, good people to fucking make that happen from the beginning to the end. That's like the biggest piece that nobody even talks about. You gotta have good fucking people to handle those processes. Like, good people on the farm, good people in the lab, good people, you know,
that have the right
packing these burgers that you never even see, you never even think about them. But they're fucking up there to 2 a.m. packing this shit. And good people to actually bring it here. It takes a lot, and it's about doing everything right along the path, along from beginning to the end.
Right.
That's really the truth of it.
Right.
So part of that, like with solvent concentrates, if you're doing it right, you're filtering your solvent. You know what I mean? You have to know enough about the extraction so you can make clean, safe concentrates for people, because that's the right thing to do.
That's the right thing to do.
You know,
exactly.
we're not here to poison people for $1, right? I know.
Right.
I mean, I'm not here for that. Are you here for that? I don't think so, right?
Not at all.
That's not what you're here for.
No.
That's why we got the standards.
That's why we have our own
We turn down so
standards.
many
We turn
people.
down a lot of shit.
It's
right?
crazy.
People bring stuff in. You feel bad for them too, because they're just farmers struggling. And they don't have the money to even have their shit remediated, and their whole crop got whatever, and there are people who will buy that, so more power to them, you know, that's cool.
Can we talk about remediation? Because like that low-key freaks me out, and I would rather have some people who may know more about that explain it to me, because like remediation, I came to real estate.
About it at all.
Remediation meant I was painting some like lock paint on mold.
On some, or lead or something, right? Locking in some lead. No, so
are they like, can that actually remove the mold, or are we just talking about inoculating it so it's not harmful, but we're still like smoking that shit?
No, it like kills. There's like a couple of different processes from what I understand, from what has been explained to me, and I have gone and asked directly to the manufacturers of the different machines and tried to find out the difference between them. So there's like a couple of processes that are being used that I'm aware of. There's like this rad source, which is like
the main one, right?
Yeah, so it's like X-ray machine, and it basically irradiates the weed and gets all of anything that's alive still.
Good in the flower
on the plant, right? Well,
that destroys the soul of the flower.
That's the argument, right? I find that the rad source stuff though is not as bad as the other stuff, which
the terps after the rad source thing do stay okay. Like a ton of the Massachusetts market just is that, because their limits are so low. They're like as low as the space shuttle.
But isn't it like one of them, like you can't have flour that has a certain amount and it won't work, right?
Yeah,
I don't
just
know
like
if that's the rad source or if that's the other one, which is the ozone gas.
The ozone doesn't work very well.
I've
never heard of it working properly.
The ozone gas stuff is it like makes the weed look a different color. Like you can almost tell.
It's gonna dry it out.
That it's been gassed. Like you're like, this shit doesn't look right. Like I don't know.
The rad source you can't see it.
Yeah, the rad source you can't really see it.
And it's so basically the mold or whatever is on there in that amount hasn't died yet and hasn't turned into mycotoxins. So if it just gets killed off by the rad source, I mean, it's microbial stuff that we're talking about. It's not going to be harmful for your body. So, like, in general, it's safe. I don't know if you agree, Alex, but, like...
I personally, I'm not a fan of it.
Yeah, right. Nobody's a fan.
Nobody's a fan, right?
Gross.
But there is, like, an argument that... Yeah, so I don't know. I can see one kind, and the other kind I have a harder time telling if it was remediated. But I can, in the numbers, I can tell. I'm like, 10, only 10 CFUs. don't know. That seems remediated to me, but it doesn't look remediated. Those are
probably a rad source.
Right,
Yeah,
that's probably
right,
some rad source shit. But I don't know. It's hard to tell. Or maybe they just really killed it with their grow. they had 10 CFUs.
It was surgical in there.
Yeah.
But the one thing to say about like the mold being killed or not or whatever is that it still exists.
Yeah.
Right? It's like you're not. It's not like disappearing.
You're zapping it. It's disappearing.
Empty, but
right.
That's my problem.
The matter still is there.
That's been denatured.
And it's filled
And so let me ask you a question. Now,
Yeah.
if you were to, say it gets kind of remediated and then bagged up in enough time so that the moisture content is low enough so that while it's in the bag, that mold can't come back to life. But then you open that bag up and you let that shit sit for a minute. Is the mold coming back to life or what?
I don't know.
Like the moisture content, bringing it back into it, like allowing it to recolonize is what I'm saying. Like not
I
the
guess so.
but
I mean, like if there, not that stuff, but if there was moisture,
right?
Absolutely, like it's just like it's just
already since it's already been like a good place for mold to grow. It's already proven. Is it like growing again?
But not
Like how
to be
good the
like
process
propaganda
was.
and be scaring people from having remediated flour if that's what they can afford or if that's like
Yeah, no, it's personal choice.
For
totally.
sure.
And you know, it's like the same thing difference between drinking like a craft brew and a Budweiser.
Right.
Like,
I just want to see a company lean into it and have like Fallout weed. Like with the fucking biohazard logo on the fucking on it. Like it has a gas mask.
Just
that's
proudly
the logo.
because of the rat sources.
Just lean into the
Videos
shit.
of the weed going into the rat source machine. That's hilarious.
Like they're owning it through transparency.
I love it. Yeah.
And they get all the cheapest weed too, so have great margins. I don't know.
And let's be realistic. I smoke the cheapest weed almost all the time.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
It's just who I am.
Yeah.
There's that moment.
There's that moment. There's that moment. All right. So now the transitional moment of fucking has naturally selected itself. Scotty, what you bring for your for the feet?
Okay.
We have a segment called Scotty's Kicks.
Okay.
You guys aren't familiar with it yet. Scotty has like probably one of the top sneaker collections in the Northeast, I'd say. This guy's it's deep.
It's up there, but
it's deep, but it's like very. It's very like eclectic, and he has all the. It's not just like I have every Jordan. You know what I mean? It's like he has.
But it is a Jordan.
But it is this week's a Jordan. This week's it is one of those. I have every Jordans. If I have this, it's like I have every Jordan.
So is it a low-key foot fetish? Like, is that how it
Every
works?
pair of eight. No, it's all the eights.
So my favorite is the Jordan 8. Got about 36 pairs of Jordan 8s.
Hot damn.
And this is the 2007 Ice Blue 8. It was actually a woman's release, but they're the same. They just size them different. So I have to buy a size and a half up. But yeah, it's a very obscure colorway. A lot of people don't even know it exists, but it's one of the dopest shoes I think I have. I love this shoe. It's a love or hate shoe. I think it's dope. It's the hardest shoe I own to keep clean. And actually, just today, they started falling apart on me.
Oh man.
Oh, fuck.
Yep.
It's kind of sad.
Right here.
He loves those Jordan 8s, man.
But yeah, fell apart. There they are.
Man, what is your monthly shoe budget?
I don't really buy too many. I gotta really love it to buy it now, because I got a lot of what I really wanted already. So it's like
I just didn't know if that was something you like actually budgeted
I've been
for.
doing it for so long. It's just like I don't know. I gotta really love the shoe to go buy it now. But
What was your last purchase?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
trying to think. Man, you put me on the spot.
You've been buying some re-releases in the last couple of years, haven't you?
Oh yeah, the last couple of years for sure. Hell
It's
yeah.
the last
Hell yeah.
couple of years.
I still buy shoes every, I don't know, at least every other month. But
Every other month.
So there is a budget.
So there's like every other month. Like the five.
It is.
6 to 10 a year
Okay.
lately, but it used to be a lot more.
6
How
to 10
many
a
shoes?
year.
How many pairs of shoes?
How
How many Nikes?
Right now,
Nikes?
about 150 pairs.
Okay. And
It's
they're all
not-
Jordans?
No.
you
I
got, like,
I
Jordans
all kinds of shit.
all
It's
kinds of-
very,
okay.
it's very all over the place. It's very 90s based, 90s basketball based.
Okay.
I got Reeboks. No, there's barely any Adidas. I'm not into Adidas shit. They just
No, he just trolling you, bro.
They just start from my feet.
No, remember that week you brought an Adidas hat?
The first one that aired was an Adidas.
brought
What the fuck? That's how we started off.
Yeah, that's how we started off with the. At least it was a bait. It was like a bait.
It was a bait and
Adidas.
Adidas,
It was a bait Adidas. That's why.
And it was when you guys were here last time. That was the first time the shoe segment aired.
Yeah, I was so pleased with
But
those.
what was I just talking about? Yeah, I got old Reebok, old Fila, old like Grant Hill shoes and Patrick Ewings and lots of Jordans,
Do you know how
lots
many
of
pairs
Dunks.
you have, like, roughly?
It's right about 150.
150.
Yeah. It used to be more. I'll get rid of some shoes here and there because they're worth money. They're like wearable savings bonds. A lot of them just increase in value. So.
Yeah, no, I have friends that do that. They resell shoes and stuff.
Yeah, even when I wear them, they're worth more than I bought them for. When I bought them, like, it's fucking dope. It's like, I'll sell these used for fucking 3 times what I paid for them,
I cannot
or
wrap my
2
head
times
around
what I
that.
paid for them. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. You just gotta buy the right ones. That's the thing. People think it's a waste of money.
No,
sell my
you just have
collection.
to have good taste. That's
I can
not
have
that
racks
easy,
myself
man.
like
A
Do you
lot
have
of people
all
don't
the,
have
like,
good taste.
OG boxes?
Yeah, I don't have
Yes,
good
yes.
taste. Like,
Okay.
we've
I keep
talked
them
about my
somewhere,
dumpster
though.
boots.
Yeah.
This has been a discussion.
Because that's just a whole lot of
A
space.
whole lot of
Yeah,
space,
so I
yeah,
had to
yeah.
keep them elsewhere.
Okay, word.
Keep them someone I know's attic. Yeah. They were kind enough to let me use it.
That's
cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
I love shoes.
Hey,
Have
man.
since I was a kid,
Fuck yeah.
and I couldn't afford them like that. I could get like
Yeah.
1 pair, 2 pairs a year max. I'd have to ask for a pair for Christmas, to get 2 pairs. And I would just wanted all the other ones too, and I got them when I could afford them. That's
Dude, I get it.
Yeah.
I collect pipes and bongs. Everyone's got their thing.
Jay collects verses.
yes,
Yeah,
he
he
does.
does.
Drop that shit.
He's got a nice collection. I don't know if we'll ever run out of them. You know what I mean? We'll see. I
We
don't
won't.
think we're gonna, because he'll just like make a new one or whatever.
He'll run out of verses when I run out of shoes.
But what's wild about it is that he like remembers that shit. He might have just wrote that shit yesterday, but he'll still be able to spit that shit off the top
Yep.
of his dome, which I can't do. That's why he keeps telling me I need to spit on the show, and I just don't feel like doing it because I don't want to like.
Go find it and run right out.
Do Drake with the BlackBerry?
Huh?
Do Drake with the BlackBerry?
Yeah. I could do that. I might do that. I haven't done that yet. But speaking of Drake, you were talking about the.
Oh yeah, he came hard. You did.
Came back.
No, wow, that's a big pop. You got me. Damn. That's a hey yo.
Hey yo.
That's a hey yo.
Yo.
What? So wait, right?
Man, that just threw me way off. Right
We
there.
already said he was mixed. We said last week we were talking about whether who was like out of the Drake, J. Cole, Kendrick kind of beef thing that's happening. Who's like indoor, who's outdoor, and who's the mixed light of the batch. Do we still feel the same as we did last week?
So who's indoor?
Who's the indoor of the three now?
I mean,
Drake's the
Drake's the indoor. Okay.
was there? Oh man, I think I missed whatever the new one was. If I was last week or even now, I would have still said that Kendrick was indoor. But
Yeah, that's what we were saying last week. But now Drake came with the comeback, and everybody's
shit,
talking
I gotta
about the
listen
Drake.
to
Yeah,
that.
you gotta listen to it.
I'd say play it, We're not allowed to. She'll get pulled right away for copyright.
Yeah. But go listen to it. We'll talk about it. Yeah.
I will, for
Who's
sure.
chiming in
who's
the
mixed
comments?
J. Cole stays mixed light in both. I feel like.
Nah.
Well, we said J. Cole's outdoor. He was outdoor last week too.
Okay.
But you know what though? He did come out during Kendrick's
I
set at
disagree.
Coachella. So then then it shows like that they're kind of, there's a whole camaraderie about it, and then it's almost like, is this like pro wrestling? Is this all planned? And then like, damn, that's some propaganda right there. But I love it. It's like pro hip hop propaganda. Like, let's make this shit for the culture and like have fun with it. And like,
it hasn't been fun in a long
has
fucking
people
time.
talking about it and really interested in it and having. So it's like cool. It's fun. Definitely fun.
Yeah.
No matter what. No matter
And it's
how
the top guys in the industry
And it's the
sparring,
top
so
guys
you know,
in the
it's
Everybody's
industry.
been waiting for this.
Yeah.
Word up.
There's been a Cold War for a while.
So
It's been a Cold War.
The Cold War. It's funny. Now they're out here just
Not a Cold
spitting
War.
shots.
Farmer Adam's spitting bars.
He got bars? Let's see.
So now we're just gonna let Jay share one of his collections.
raps?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Oh, holy
They
shit!
call me J Poems.
J. Poems. I heard that.
I never heard that.
I bet. So this is some shit I spit a while ago on a track with my brothers, Front Page. Shout out True Blue. Shout out Just Two. I've been making music with them since I was I'ma say a baby, because it was me as a baby, as an artist. Like when I was still learning how to write a song. Yo, Just Two is definitely somebody who taught me how to write a song. And this song right here was just an opportunity for us to come and spit bars, because we was excited because we actually made Front Page official label. So that's something that you definitely gonna be hearing soon. You're gonna be seeing, we got a bunch of solo shit, but you're gonna be seeing us for sure. That's my guys forever. So I said, no cologne on, shorty want my pheromone. I'm in my bag, taking off, hey to carry on. She said, why you scream boot at every song? That's how Jay roll, I'm obliged to get my Mary on. Then she whispered in my ear, she got no panties on. When me exploded in a box like a cherry bomb. Is you crazy? I ain't tryna bring no babies home. Paint her face up like she ain't have makeup on. Fuck your swag, please. I got mad steves, all that in a bag of these. Fly is trapeze, I breeze through trees like snow on Christmas Eve and mash on your chick like peas. Eating my greens, so I'm shitting with ease. Couldn't see what they didn't believe. I ain't magic, but I do got a trick up my sleeve. Woo, the boys get with the team. If not, suck a dick up till you hiccup and sneeze. I touch down, haters pick up and leave. I tried killing with kindness, now I'm killing them with killer 16s. About to have a chick in my dreams, unzipping my jeans. I split her like an Oreo and then I lick in between. Not the type of guy to lay with every bitch that he sees. Mama said that's how you end up getting bit up with fleas. More focused on ripping them C's. Lyrically Hulk, ripping my jeans till everyone believes like Ripley's. Snap, crackle, pop, treat the beat, Rice Krispies. Fat bag of pop, smoking weed like hippies. Stone like kidneys. Kicking lyrics like somebody stuck a sign in my back saying kick me. I ain't with the games though. Lyrics be the name, ho. It's that Wu-Tang, Method Man, bring the pain flow. You can ask anybody and I bet you they know. We rewriting history, this just the first page though.
Hey. Buddha man. Buddha man. With the Buddha braids.
I gotta say the split the Oreo. I'm gonna put that in the book of like things that I tell my wife when I want to bang.
You're welcome.
Jay got Kevin Gates on right now. Jay was getting his Kevin Gates on.
I remember when we recorded that.
It was fun.
Yeah.
Killed that beat too.
Yeah.
Word up.
Treatment.
Yeah, the treatment crazy.
Got so many songs in the cut. It's like it's ridiculous. I'm about to start dropping them one by one by one. Yeah.
Let's do it. I'm ready. I'm ready.
All right.
You got no more say in the matter, Jay.
Yeah. It's happening. Yeah.
I'm with it.
You get one.
Mer's just gonna leak his entire discography.
It's just gonna all be out.
I'm gonna say
100
this,
songs.
I'm not the only one that has a rap album that's not been released yet.
Yeah, that's true. Nah, I mean, I also
Nelson
released
Mandela.
five albums, bro. I also have five.
I'm looking at you.
It's my
Banjo.
That's really me.
You're looking at me? Yeah.
No, I'm looking at this guy right here.
Nelson
He
Mandela.
was making his at the same time I was making mine.
That's true.
Yeah, you need to drop. What the
I
fuck?
know.
You talking all that shit.
I know.
I know you got 18
You
albums
think I
back
got
there.
bars?
We got
got bars.
Yeah, no, it's coming. It's going to be a fucking massive. It's like a massive undertaking to release it all, and but we're going to do it.
He's one of the people I would say out-rap me on the song. 2020, you got me.
Yeah.
That's why I had to say that shit.
That'll be awesome.
That's why I had to say that.
And you know what's crazy? I wrote my verse first, son. So you had the opportunity to follow up.
You got it.
It was intimidating.
You failed,
It
Jay.
was intimidating. No, it was a good verse, though. It was a good verse. You can peep it. It's out there. It's out there. You go check the link. The link is in whatever. You know what I mean? Yeah, 2020 link. You know what I mean? Yeah, we.
From TikTok.
Yeah, let's get it.
I guess rosin is made without the use of solvents, and resin is made using solvent. Typically hydrocarbon, butane, or propane, or a mix of both. There's also isobutane. There's different solvents that you can extract resin with, but you know they all have different characteristics in terms of what the compounds that they pull out of the biomass, out of the flower. But basically, resin is usually like a butane extracted concentrate, and all rosin is only made with from hash.
Essentially water, though, right?
Yeah, with water.
Essentially,
Flower rosin is not
water.
really a thing anymore, I guess. You know,
Water is the solvent, and solventless. It's like
Water and ice.
Yeah, exactly.
Cold water.
Cold water and ice. Yeah.
Yeah, and like it's typically defined as like heat and pressure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we're using heat and pressure to squeeze out the lighter compounds at the lower temperatures. So, you know, like the stuff that takes 700, 800 degrees to actually vaporize, none of that is coming out.
But it's true that to produce rosin is much like you get a much lower yield, right? When you're doing rosin over resin.
Yeah, it's a mechanical. I mean, another way to
Depends.
It depends.
Yeah, it depends.
The plant, right?
Yeah, there are some strains where you could actually have more. You could have a higher yield with rosin than with resin, but those are outliers.
Yeah, that's definitely
it's
outliers. Right,
What strains are those?
Yeah.
Like GMO is like one of those cookies and cream. Cookies and cream, like these Gassy Taffy crosses. The Gassy Taffy strain, the original one, apparently does super like high yields. You could like for example, cookies and cream is one that I can speak to personally because I saw that the same biomass that we grew when we had someone wash it, the yield is higher than when we ran it for BHO.
Oh shit.
But
wow,
you rarely see that happen.
Yeah,
It's
but
usually the
yeah,
other way around.
Yeah.
Still, that's
But it
amazing.
happens. Yeah.
It's fucking awesome.
I mean, but the main difference is you're like either like with solventless, you're mechanically separating the oil off of the plant, right? So it's always going to be more difficult to do and like scale.
Yeah.
It's like always going to be a craft process. You're mechanically taking the stuff off. With a solvent, you're dissolving it off, right? So like you imagine this column where like if you put biomass into it, you'll run solvent through it and it's going to take all those terps and oils out of there.
Right.
And with butane you just get a super high quality. So I think they both have their place, right? And
Yeah, I
they're
think
both-
so too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a matter of preference, and I think really with a good process, you know, you can make really good concentrates with, you know, many different methods.
Yeah.
From the UK. When you talk green out, are you talking about a whitey?
Yeah, it's definitely a whitey. I don't actually like the term whitey because it's often associated with cocaine. So green out just happens to bring us back a little bit more to the fact that we are consuming a green plant. So it's, I don't know, it's a pretty old term that I've known a while. I don't know, does anyone know where it came from?
The green out?
Yeah, the term instead of whitey, because I know
I've always, we call it the whites. We got the whites.
The whites.
Yeah, like pale and like cold sweats and shit. I've been there for sure.
Yeah, I know who asked that. I saw her video. She's adorable. Her giggle's amazing.
Is there anything like for cannabis receptors so you can keep partaking but be reducing tolerance? I think you answered it on there, but
So in reducing your tolerance, so like you don't have to take a tea break.
said, is there anything like Chantix, but for cannabis receptors, so you can keep partaking but be reducing tolerance?
Yeah, so one of the things that they're starting to study now is CBG, cannabigerol. It kind of has like a little bit of a boxing match to like keep stuff away from your receptors. So when you're consuming cannabis, your endocannabinoid system, which is throughout your entire body, is being bombarded with additional cannabinoids. And you only have so many receptors. So if there's one receptor, but 3 people show up to the party, those other ones are waiting in line. So they're looking at things like cannabigerol to be able to prevent those extras from being able to get there and allowing them to kind of flush out of your system a little bit more. So cannabigerol, that's the mother of all cannabinoids. So like it can turn into any of the cannabinoids depending on how we process it, things of that nature. But it's something that people are consuming right now as a supplement. So like in the morning and in the evening, CBG crystals are really popular, but like Mike Robinson, cancer survivor, was the one who initially started showing me research on that. And it's because that's what he uses every day, and he's beat the battle with cancer 3 times. Yeah. CBG, yeah. So like our focus tincture is CBG because it's also really good for focus. Like when you have a ton of shit to do.
I don't know if you agree, if you also like smoke like a 1-to-1 vape or like a ratioed vape throughout the day of any kind, where like you lower your intake of THC some amount and then you rip like a full vape or a dab at night, I think that works out really well to balance out.
Yeah, some thoughtful consumption will allow it to slowly reduce over time, so you can still get high.
Yeah, and not feel any kind of anxiety.
Yeah, like the Harvest J's are low dose, so like I'm not getting nearly as much THC as like the Mac, which is in that 20s.
Or a 1-to-1 vape, right? Or a 1-to-1 gummy even.
Be thoughtful about your consumption. But yeah, right now that's kind of, some people tout the CBD side of things, but there's really nothing that actually proves that yet. So it's a work in progress.
Yeah, CBG vape will be coming as well soon. So like CBG vape will be.
I'm so excited for that. Yeah. But yeah, the more CBG you have in your system, the better, and it just allows you to just continually get high.
Are you gonna do other vapes with other cannabinoids in it?
Yeah, we're gonna do some CBG and CBN vapes. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, CBN vapes. It's like that's a nighttime shit. Nighttime shit.
Yeah. For people with severe anxiety, it's a good daytime one though. Because it just keeps them level, takes the edge off.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were working on a CBN vape and I promised to try it the night before, and then I got to the office at like 9 a.m. and I had the meeting coming up and I was like, I didn't try the CBN vape, and I was like, I can't come in here not knowing what the CBN vape tastes like. So I ripped it like 4 times and I was like physically sedated, and I was like, I am quite tired. We're gonna go.
Like, so we know it works.
Right. Yeah, it worked. Right. It worked for sure. Yeah.
Like,
the flip side, you would not want to give someone who's high anxiety the CBG vape, right? Necessarily.
It depends
especially
on
like
person.
a THCV or CBC vape. Those are, I mean, that combo is like, like a little bit like caffeine.
THCV is very uplifting. CBG, it's gonna depend on the person.
It depends on the person, right?
It can really hone you in on something, so that can be really great or really bad if you get in your own head. Because then you're not getting out. At least for like a half hour until you sober up.
Like my intuition tells me if like you take Xanax, then just stay away from like CBG.
Yeah. Definitely.
Or just don't take Xanax, you know.
Yeah. That's probably.
Smoke more weed.
Smoke more weed.
Smoke more weed with like nice profiles, calming shit.
Yeah.
Shout out to that message. Smoke more weed. Stage 1, smoke more weed.
Cosign.
That's the propaganda right there. All right. There it is.
You smoking on?
That's it.
CBD. Yeah. See? Something for everybody.
All right.
Hold up. You got more questions for us, Dills? That was all your questions?
I remember last week though, we wanted from Adam. He talked about outdoor versus indoor.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and Adam wasn't here. We wanted Adam's opinion on outdoor versus indoor.
Is J.
We
Cole
thought
outdoor?
Adam would have. we thought Adam would have something to say
About
about outdoor versus indoor.
Yeah, about J. Cole and Kendrick.
Yeah, we've officially converted Adam to like pick him out. He's like, well, Jake, no, we're talking about like actual weed, like the outdoor versus indoor debate.
Yeah. so there's
We just wanted your opinion on the outdoor because you're an outdoor grower.
Yeah, I mean, like personally, I don't think I've had any indoor that's been better than the outdoor that I've smoked. I think overall, sun has the most gentle but still intensive UV, which gives this plant this perfect stress response to create a better terpene profile. The other thing to strongly note about outdoor, and this goes into region and whatnot, and why like people are like, oh, why don't I get those OG Cali packs anymore? Is because like that bud came from California.
Right.
Like, why don't we get like the hash, like that Lebanese like hash in America? Why can't we make that? Because that shit came from Lebanon.
Yeah.
Those hash plants came from Pakistan. Like we're talking those regions created that profile, and so that's where it comes to be like extra special.
Their
Right.
environment.
And then as we talk about breeding and trying to breed those things back in and get that back in,
It's
that's a
really
whole different topic.
Right.
And that's really cool that we can attempt that.
The environment plays a big role in whether or not the outdoor is going to be good, though, right?
Yeah, environment, and then also like truly being like as single source closed loop as you can, and like really working with your land is going to produce the best bud. So you're not actually bringing in any chemicals, but you're utilizing your environment and taking advantage of that. And that's okay if you still use a hoop house, as long as with greenhouse plastic on it. I support that. I still think that's a full outdoor.
Yeah.
But like,
well, what's your thought on mixed light, because you have a little bit more control over the length of light and the flowering, like things of that nature, but you still get the full spectrum, the UV light from the sun. I've heard arguments that say that mixed light is the way to go.
So there's two plays on that. I think I do think mixed lights is a really great way. When we bring it indoors, like while we like indoors more, and someone can chirp into if they disagree or whatnot, but the reason why we like indoor more is because it's more consistent, and because you have a more sterile environment, you can really drive those terpenes and like certain things, that bag appeal. You can drive that like density, you can control the molds and the cleanliness. You can produce maybe we'd call like cleaner burning hash at some points because it doesn't have potential dust and particles and other other things in the environment. So like there's nothing to say that indoor isn't like also can produce a really high quality product, but yeah. And then
but the sunlight, nothing beats the sunlight in your opinion.
I don't think anything beats the sunlight if you do it right. Because once again, like if you go into the dispenser,
the hard part, though.
Yeah, and that's the hard part, and that's why.
I think just to speak to that a little bit, like, I used to say this all the time, but I mean, I think everyone in California at this point 100% agrees. But the best hash is made from outdoor material.
Yeah.
From sun-grown material.
Sun-grown material.
Sun-grown material specifically. And I think that's actually one of the benefits that we've had is and actually working here in New York is that like everything out here is in sun-grown. And so it's a good opportunity for making really 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 high quality concentrates from sun-grown material. It's a part of it. I remember like 10 years ago reading a paper about how UVB increases cannabinoid production. I mean, I don't know enough about like that part of the cultivation to really speak on it. So I don't want to speak on it, but I know that certainly like I've smoked, I've grown like weed that's gotten processed into rosin, and I've grown that same strain outdoors. At 100%, I prefer the outdoor. Yeah. And I mean, and it's not a matter of like, okay, yeah, sure, like you could have a cleaner indoor cultivation, but when you taste the flower that's growing, especially if you're growing outdoors in like good soil with like a lot of organic media inside, where it has a real like diverse like uptake of different nutrients. There's like micronutrients that plant doesn't get, and when you're growing in like hydroponic in a hydroponic setup, so,
right.
So you're getting a more
minerals.
There's a lot of different minerals and like
Microbes.
Yeah, exactly. There's microbes that are breaking down those minerals that we can, it's a way more complex system, and it should be, because it's fucking a billion years old. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where like growing in salts is what, like it's something that we've created in the last 100 years. Using ammonium nitrate to grow crops, and essentially the hydroponic cultivation is an offshoot of that sort of commercial grows, commercial cultivation practices that were created like 100 years ago.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's as advanced as that is, and I'm not talking down, because I got friends that are salt growers that grow some fucking amazing flower, and I would never talk that down. There's a science behind that, and there's a lot of reasons why that's not, it works. Some really good flowers, smoke really good flowers, growing salts.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, my personal preference is organic soil grown flower. There's no comparison. In fact, we have a flower company in Cali. We only do soil grown flower for that same reason. Yeah.
And
we do indoor. We do indoor.
Indoor soil grown.
Yeah, indoor soil grown flower.
Yeah.
Reusing your soil, like something that we have to respect about this plant, and doing it indoor is like, when your lights go out, where's your weed? But then also, it connects with the earth, and that's where we're getting like the regenerative benefit. That's where we're getting like the earth benefit, where we're helping the environment, where it has so much more benefits beyond what our lungs and our personal tastes like can have.
Yeah. How important is the mycelium network in growing cannabis? Has there been studies on that?
Yes.
At all, like a good, healthy mycelium network under a bed of outdoor cannabis that allows all of the plants to connect and speak to one another? Has that?
Yeah, so like there's studies talking about how like a tree 2 miles away is determining what's growing down
Right,
the
that's
hill.
what I'm saying. Have they applied that to cannabis yet?
We're applying that.
Like when I transplant, there's like stuff you can sprinkle. It's like this mycelium.
We put that in the
Well, the application of they're studying cannabis, like instead of planting trees, planting hemp fields to sequester more carbon. And to like produce more biomass for use for like fabric and hempcrete.
Fuel.
All
of it.
It's incredible.
There's a lot of uses for
a lot of uses. Which brings us back to that propaganda. Like so many uses for it. There's so many interests that were like
propaganda. Name of the episode.
Against cannabis winning.
Yeah.
All of them.
And
too many.
There is also a study about how there's small studies happening, so it's not like big and concrete about the outdoor and indoor, but that indoor products are showing that there's more degradation of the THC and terpenes, and that's due to like that UV light being closer to the plant. So that's just a little more. It's more intense. It's more constant. And that's just to be further studied.
Yeah. Which is nice that it is starting to be further studied, though. And we have university programs. There's like the fucking local community colleges are all just like, we have a cultivation program. Like, dude, cool. You better have some legacy. Like,
but there are some good programs.
Some good programs. Yeah, I'm sure there's some good programs. They have to. We're gonna, and there's like. Retail programs and it's all sorts of crazy shit. So we're gonna,
and it's the early days.
That's dope that they're doing that we're breaking into college. I used to get fucking kicked off campus for you got caught smoking weed.
We had 21 kids college students in the cannabis program come to the farm this summer. Take a tour.
Nice.
And they were all like asking all these questions and like learning disease names and like, it was cool, the farm we took them through.
Yeah.
And it was amazing.
Yeah,
And
amazing,
it's like, oh my
exactly.
God,
College wants to learn about the growing weed. We don't got to hide this shit.
Yeah.
Like, wait, shh, the college is coming.
Yeah, there's so many schools offering courses now. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Even tons of community colleges doing that.
Yeah, I remember when I first moved to California, 2013, seeing Amsterdam.
Yeah.
You ever heard of that stuff?
Yeah.
Amsterdam University.
Yeah, they got shut down. It was like a big deal.
Yeah. I remember that.
shit?
It's interesting because I remember thinking man, that's funny that they have a cannabis program. But it's really, not to say it wasn't. It was cool. But it wasn't legit, But now you have legit universities.
Legit universities doing it. Yeah,
that's crazy.
We got to make sure that it's not propaganda.
I went through the Berkshire
Controlled by
Community
the
College
state.
program, and it was taught by a botanist and someone who had studied cannabis across the entire country for 40 years.
There you go.
Fayette Reynolds, she was incredibly impressive.
Yeah. Well, you learned a lot, obviously.
It was fun because it was
for sure.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm talking fucking shit. You learned a lot.
hell yeah.
But you got to give more credit to it, and hopefully the feds start allowing a lot more study of it because there's no college funding for it. Yeah. So if colleges are going to do it, they have to do it on their own or ask their state if their state is legalized.
Yeah, and fundraise for it.
Now we can. Hopefully, that'll all change. All right. So now that you're hearing about their rescheduling, right, and how it's almost through and it's going to happen, and the DEA.
Supposedly on 420. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I heard it's now it just has to get the final sign off or whatever.
Okay.
But that made it through all the. So it's basically going to happen. Does that affect you guys at all?
Not yet. Not yet.
Not yet, but when it happens, will it affect you guys?
It'll affect us in the short term, let's say in a bunch of positive ways. It'll normalize a bunch of shit. So you should be able to start having access to capital, banking, etc.
Yeah.
But there's still 280 will be massive, right?
Yeah.
But there still isn't gonna immediately just be interstate commerce, right? That's not how alcohol prohibition ended. It was county by county, state by state, right?
Yeah.
So it's gonna take a little time until then the tri-state area, Connecticut, New Jersey, New York, have some agreement, and Massachusetts
it's still gonna be seen as a controlled substance federally, though. It's not free for all. Yeah. Like salt and pepper and shit.
I think it generally just brings a bunch of normalization benefits, and all the paranoia about pharma taking over. Some of these cannabis companies, the ROs, are big multi-billion-dollar companies. They're not just gonna get squashed by pharma or whatever. And this is too small for pharma to be interested in terms of full market size in relation to what the shit doing. that they sell.
They might see it as a threat.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I'd say, from my experience, cannabis has helped me not have to take too many pharmaceuticals and for certain other things. So.
But it seems too hard for them to try to really shut down. There's no route for it, so it's all right, do we try to make money for it, or it's really decentralized right now? So I just feel it'll take a while before they're actually involved,
Yeah.
It's to be one big piece they'll bite at it. Hopefully never. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
There it is again.
All right, there it is. There's that moment.
So high.
No, that was 3. That was number 3.
Yeah.
A foul.
We got a Ricky story.
This is the highest I've been on the pod.
Too high. You're too high for a story, bro.
Said no story.
Ricky's had some great stories. Too high tonight for the stories.
That's
are too much.
I've been
That's
thinking
fair.
about
Yeah,
those cookies.
yeah.
I cannot stop thinking. I'm
I just-
like,
Because they were
as soon as
amazing.
we're done here, I am going.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
I
man.
didn't even get to have mine yet. I knew I was saving it for a
As soon as we're
reason.
done here, I'm going to bed.
Yeah. Last week I was real fucking stoned.
Yeah. I mean, every week we're really fucking stoned.
I know. Once again.
Not quite yet.
Like when Adam was talking, I'm like, fuck, I'm so high.
The Vernon challenge, right? So Vernon,
Vernon
is
would love this.
one of our inventory managers, and he said like before he started working here, he'd do like 500 milligrams of edibles, no problem. Like like street edibles, not And we were like,
The package said 500 milligrams.
Yeah, the package said 500 milligrams.
It was really just some distillate soaked fucking Sour Patch Kids. With kind of 80 milligrams on it or some shit.
Distillate soaked Sour Patch Kids.
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh, so then he actually did it like Christmas. He ate at Christmas Eve.
Which one's this?
Did he only eat 300?
300 milligrams.
300 milligram, 100 milligram packs. And he had a green out moment. He's like, Miss Christmas. He slept through Christmas.
He slept through Christmas.
Slept through Christmas, man.
I had a weed hangover when I got up to last time.
And then
I
he was
woke
like,
up felt like shit.
that is a different,
usually wake up high
that's
when I
300 milligrams of legitimate edibles versus, 500 milligrams of street edibles. You don't know what you're getting necessarily all the
I just don't
way.
get too high anymore where I get like a green out.
Yeah.
But like if I have edibles,
Edibles.
I get there.
Yeah, not just from smoking, but definitely mixing the edibles in.
At this point, I don't agree now, but I can just sit there and be like, I can feel that I am like uncomfortable.
I'm very
right now.
high. I'm a
I
little
know
too
this
high.
feeling.
I'm a little too high.
It's time for bed. We're too high.
Yeah, I can admit it.
Let's scroll
I'm not
this
having a green
away.
out moment, but I can admit it. I'm a little too high. That was excessive. Maybe we should have not lit that 12th joint. Or whatever. Yeah. Welcome to the Stage 1 podcast.
And the
I notice it
4
when I'm
gram of
too warm
fucking
too.
Q-tip
Like,
gravy
so
right
like if
here.
you're in the bath or it's just a hot day and you're getting high, it's like you're way higher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can rip stuff super cold.
Yeah, I made the wrong
if I'm
choice.
smoking in the sun, I get that.
By getting the switch.
Like outside, like
Yep.
on the beach or something.
got that.
I just got rid of my cards and holy shit.
All right.
I mean,
Are we doing dabs?
Yeah.
So we've been doing
We've
that.
been doing. What you talking about? Yeah, I'm just talking about right this second. I know we've been doing it the whole time. I'm just noticing.
I thought you just realized you were doing dabs over
the glob over
You
here.
guys smoking over there?
I'm a professional dabber now. I took my
That
first
was my
dab
Scotty.
today,
That
and
was
now
my
I'm
Scotty moment, but I'm serious.
I know. Great though.
Yeah, some Tahoe
Alright.
Bunch Fresh Press who I just smacked the mic.
Nice.
Crushing it.
That one just looked like way different. It looks awesome.
It's like third times.
No, that's second.
Isn't that?
This is funny.
I just know he just scooped it. I was gonna be able to smell it more.
It's,
That is
white,
delicious.
White Tahoe cookies with
I know
Mosa.
we're so stoned.
Which one is it?
Yeah,
All right.
it's terps.
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 Yeah, you can really.
Ricky got faked out. He put his hand out.
It's so turvy.
We're all just staring at shit.
My bad, bro.
Bring this out, man.
Stage 1 podcast. Stoop the store, legacy to legal. Shout out to the squad. All right, do us dirty. Nah, not tonight. All right, no. Peace to the squadron and the family. from Natural, Jaunty, Critical. You know what I'm saying? We got the Resonators in the house.
Resonators.
Yeah. Squad.
That should be a squad, yeah.
Stage 1 team. We out. Shout out Rap Deals.
Hey, Rap Deals.
Yes.
Legend. Dope.
I be on that OG, tell you about the OG, calling up the Rosins, got me feeling rosy, higher than the noties, flush it ain't got no seats, I be on the green like Mario and Yoshi.